Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's interagency press briefing to receive recovery updates on the Norfolk Southern train derailment. My name is Craig Browning, and I'm an External Affairs Officer assigned to this event. The speakers today, U.S. EPA Region 5 Administrator Deborah Shore, followed by Ohio Department of Public Safety Director Andy Wilson, FEMA Region 5 Administrator Thomas Sivak, and CDC ATSDR Team Lead Jill Shugart. Also on hand for questions, we have Ohio Department of Health Chief of Staff Miranda Williams, Federal Railroad Administration Public Information Specialist Corey Gaddy, and East Palestine Mayor Trent Conaway. Additionally, East Palestine Fire Chief Keith Drapick. After their remarks, we will open the floor for about 15 minutes for questions. I do ask that whenever you do ask questions, you speak loudly and also state your name and your station affiliate. Also, keep our ASL interpreter in your shop, please. And with that, I'll turn it over to Region 5 Administrator Deborah Shore.
Thank you, Craig, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank FEMA for finding a location, getting us all out of the rain today. I'm Deborah Shore, the Region 5 Regional Administrator for U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and I want to start off, as I did yesterday, by sharing a few operational updates regarding our response efforts here in East Palestine. EPA has conducted 578 home re-entry screenings so far and continues air monitoring at 15 stations within the community. I continue to be pleased that there have been no exceedances for residential air quality standards, and outdoor air quality remains normal. I want to remind the community that EPA is continuing to offer the air screening service to any resident within the evacuation zone who wants a screening. For those interested, EPA recently set up a new information hotline. It's posted on EPA's website, and the number is 866-361-0526. Members of the community can call this dedicated phone line to be directed to various services, including the opportunity to begin the intake process for scheduling cleaning services. And something I'm very excited about, tomorrow Administrator Michael Regan will be on the ground in East Palestine for the third time. He, along with other federal partners, will participate in the grand opening of our new Community Welcome Center at 25 North Market Street. We're setting this place up as a location where members of the greater East Palestine community can drop in to meet with staff from EPA and other agencies and learn about services available to support the community. And we'll share more details tomorrow. And finally, another opportunity for residents to learn about the response and to ask questions of EPA and other responding agencies will be a public meeting and open house later this week. It'll be Thursday evening at 6 p.m. at the gym at the high school. In terms of waste disposal, at yesterday's briefing I announced that we have identified 2 EPA-certified waste disposal facilities in Ohio that are able to accept at least some of the wastes from the derailment, meaning that the railroad was able to restart shipments this morning. And as I mentioned, these 2 facilities in Vickery and East Liverpool don't have enough capacity to handle all the liquid and solid waste from this cleanup. So we've continued working with the railroad and our state partners to identify other disposal locations. Today, I'm pleased to report that the Ross Incinerator Facility in Grafton, Ohio, will be able to accept some of the solid waste, and the railroad will start shipping to them tomorrow. In addition, Tomorrow, the railroad will begin shipping waste from the cleanup to the Heritage Environmental Services hazardous waste landfill in Roachdale, Indiana. We had promised to notify elected officials and our state agency partners before approving the shipment of any waste from the derailment to their state or district, and we have done that. The addition of these disposal locations gets us closer to having enough capacity to finish the cleanup and to get all the waste out of East Palestine as quickly as possible. I want to remind folks that EPA has decades of experience dealing with hazardous waste, both from cleaning up contaminated sites to regulating the landfills where it's disposed of. As I've said previously, we know it's far better to have it safely stored in a properly constructed and monitored disposal facility than to remain here any longer than is necessary. Every aspect of hazardous waste transportation and disposal is closely regulated and overseen by federal, state, and local government agencies. Let me go into a little more detail about the protections we have in place to keep people safe, from the moment trucks and rail cars are loaded until the waste is safely disposed of. Both EPA and the Department of Transportation have regulations that govern the transportation of waste from East Palestine to its destination. Additionally, Norfolk Southern must comply with all federal, state, and local requirements related to transportation. These extensive requirements cover everything from proper waste labeling, packaging, and handling, as well as requirements for shipping documents that provide information about the wastes and where they're going. The facilities that will receive these wastes from the East Palestine cleanup have been evaluated by EPA and found to be acceptable to take the wastes. We will continue to evaluate options for safe and proper disposal facilities with the capacity sufficient to handle the needs of the cleanup. And we will continue to keep the community informed about our ongoing process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Andy Wilson. I'm the Director of the Department of Public Safety for the state of Ohio. I want you to know that the Department of Public Safety has been here in East Palestine since moments after this train went off the tracks. We've been here through the presence of the State Highway Patrol, and we've been here through our teams from our State Emergency Management Agency. We have been working with the locals. We've been working with the chief. We've been working with the mayor through the critical response to this incident. As a matter of fact, those hours when the public safety was at risk from an imminent, uncontrolled explosion, the governor was on the phone with the fire chief, and the fire chief asked for additional help. They needed help getting people out of the danger zone. The governor did not hesitate. He worked with the chief as the incident commander, and he supplied the troops from the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and he supplied the guardsmen to come in and literally overnight go door to door to ensure that the residents of this town had the information they needed to take the action to keep themselves safe. At every step of this process, the governor has reached out to our local leaders, and he has asked them, what do you need? How can I help? And has provided really instant or immediate support with every request. And Chief, Mayor, I hope through this process you have felt the support from the governor that he has intended to give you. He was here on the ground while this emergency was still unfolding, talking to the chief, talking to the mayor, going through the assessment process with them, and providing them with hopefully every resource you needed. I was with the governor this morning, and chief and mayor and citizens of this community. He wants you to know that we will be with you through this entire process. Whatever your needs are, whether it's from the state health, whether it's from state EPA, whether it's from the State Department of Public Safety, if you need something, you ask, and we will be here to support you. And we will be here to support you through the entire process. And that goes to the citizens of this community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. My name is Tom Sivak. I'm the Regional Administrator for FEMA Region 5. I'm going to provide a few updates for today. As of this afternoon, we had 66 FEMA teams on the ground engaging in the community. They're just one part of this interagency effort behind me. These interagency teams were out in the community of East Palestine today to ensure residents were receiving up-to-date information. FEMA staff are taking part in this mission by assisting in distributing flyers, answering questions, and connecting with the community. As of mid-afternoon, the teams were able to engage and drop off flyers to over 190 residents, bringing the total number of engagements to 543 in the last couple of days. We will continue to emphasize getting information into the residents' hands and the community to meet the residents where they are. Over the next couple of days, we are going to be focusing on engaging, communicating, and listening to the community's needs. In the meantime, any residents with any questions at all, and those that are in the community that are receiving these pamphlets right here, should call the EPA hotline number. That number is 866-361-0526. Tomorrow, we will continue to connect with the residents and in the community to ensure that they're connected to local, state, and federal resources. FEMA will continue to support this incident as long as we are needed. We are committed to your safety and the well-being of the people of East Palestine and the affected community. Finally, as mentioned yesterday, this joint interagency press briefing will take place to ensure that the community receives the updates needed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Captain Jill Sugart, and I am currently serving as the team lead for the CDC ATSDR East Palestine team. I wanted to provide you just a couple of updates today. It is my pleasure to report that we were able to get on the ground in Pennsylvania yesterday to go to 22 residences to talk about our ACE survey. That's the assessment of chemical exposures. We spent most of the day there into the evening and had a great experience talking with the community. This week, we're going to be focusing on our first responder survey. This is a specific survey that we will be doing through our ACE program to target those first responders who are not only responding within the first couple of hours of the incident, but will also target first responders that are on the ground today helping with cleanup. Finally, we are continuing to work with our local, state, and federal partners on community engagement activities to make sure that critical public health information is distributed. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll open it to questions.
Question for FEMA this evening.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm WPBN Youngstown, Kristen McFarland. Over the weekend, I talked to a member from the EPA.
Mhm.
Yeah, that, I know.
Could you speak up? I'm a little hearing challenged, so I'll need your help.
A question asked yesterday, I would like to follow up. You're not currently testing for dioxins because there was no baseline prior to the accident. We've spoken to a few experts and scientists that say that the chemicals released are extremely dangerous to people in the area. So why is this still not being tested for?
As I said, we don't have baseline information for dioxins. They are ubiquitous in the environment. They can be caused by wildfires, by backyard grilling, by a host of other normal activities in human life. And without that information, it would be hard to attribute any level to the derailment. However, I'd like to put you in touch with our toxicologists because we are looking at it. Those are the scientists, and we trust science.
George Solis, NBC News. So you mentioned now you have 4 sites that some of this hazardous material is going to. Do we have a timeline of how soon this site will be officially cleaned up of all this debris?
No, I don't. The railroad is working on a work plan right now. I believe we sent a directive to Norfolk Southern to begin lifting the tracks as soon as possible. I don't know whether the rain today will push that back just a little bit, but I think you will see it within a week that they have begun that work.
We heard that there were 5 trucks that were sent back from Michigan, truckloads of hazardous material. Has that already been dispersed to the 2 sites in Ohio, or is that still in process?
I know they began shipping some today. I don't know whether it included those 5 trucks. I'd be happy to find out for you.
And then just a quick question for the CDC. Have any first responders actually been participating in this survey? Have any of them reported any illnesses at this point as associated with working at the derailment site?
We are just now starting to work with our local, state, and federal partners to get a list of which responders were at the event, and then we will be going through the ACE process to ask them a series of questions about any potential exposures.
Next question, yes, sir.
Stephen Goldman, Fox News. This is for FEMA or the CDC. There have been some residents who say they can't talk to their primary care providers and get the tests they need to test for certain things in their blood. Where could they go to get those testing codes, or where can they go to find out how they get those tests?
So if anyone is experiencing symptoms, if they are not able to go to their doctor, they can certainly schedule an appointment at the health assessment clinic that's being offered here in town. They can also contact the Poison Control Center to talk about their symptoms and get advice.
If they go to the health assessment center in town, can someone there refer them to get a test somewhere?
There are medical providers on site, and they can certainly provide them consultation. I'm not sure if the Department of Health has anything further to add.
Hi, Miranda Williams, Chief of Staff, Ohio Department of Health. So yeah, at the Health Assessment Clinic, there are nurses on hand to take vitals. Residents can fill out an after chemical exposure assessment survey, so we can have some data based on what they've experienced and also track that. And every visitor to the clinic has also been seen by a physician who will provide an individualized assessment and medical evaluation, and if necessary, connect them with a doctor who can follow up with them long-term to consider things like you're asking.
Sydney Canty, 21 WSMJ News. I'm wondering about this meeting that's supposed to be happening on Thursday. Are residents going to be getting answers to questions about health concerns, or is there going to be more information given about the air, water, and soil testing?
Well, I know we'll have our on-scene coordinators there to demonstrate the air monitors that have been placed around the community and brought into homes and can answer questions about air monitoring. I defer to our health partners as to whether they can answer questions about personal health.
Yes, sir.
Bob Fenner, WEWS in Cleveland. For some of these facilities where some of this waste is being brought to, what is the protocol? Are those city leaders kind of given a notice this stuff is going to come into your community? Is there a requirement for that, or to notify residents or anything like that?
We will not be notifying for every single shipment. That's going to be too many, but we are working with local officials and the state agencies. I've talked to the directors of both Ohio and Indiana today. There are protocols in place for creating manifests when the trucks or tankers leave the site, and then checking those manifests when they arrive, and characterizing the liquid and solid waste in the trucks and rail cars. But, you know, there are trucks arriving every day at these facilities from a wide range of sources. Some of our Superfund sites, private waste, chemical manufacturers, a whole range of sources of hazardous waste. That's why we have these permitted and verified landfills and incinerators.
Ms. Shore, while you're up there, what's the setup of the meeting going to be like? Is it going to be like a town hall, or is it going to be more like the little stations from the last meeting? And also, do you know if Norfolk Southern is going to be there?
What was the second part of your question?
Do you know if Norfolk Southern is going to be there at the meeting?
Oh.
And what's the setup going to be?
I don't know.
Okay.
I believe that each agency will have a table or a area for people to stop by and receive information, but I'm not entirely sure. But each agency is going to have representatives there and have information for the community and seek to answer their questions.
Just a real quick question for the mayor or the fire chief. 3 weeks post the derailment, you still have residents who are telling us they don't trust what's being told by officials. They're still skeptical of their water, be it municipal or well water. What do you tell your community who still has so many questions and doubts about the long-term impact of this derailment?
As I've said before, we're working to get those answers to them. We only can trust the subject matter experts. We have to rely on our federal and state agencies to give us that information, and what we're getting from them says everything is good. I know there's definitely questions about the rashes and the illnesses. So we're working with the federal agency, EPA, Department of Health, to try to get those answers for our community. So I know it's still ongoing, but I think there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I know our residents are getting frustrated, but we're working as fast as we can to get them the answers.
Are you satisfied with the response so far?
Am I satisfied with what? The
response so far, the information that you've been getting?
Yes and no. I really think they're working as hard as they can. I do question, the people getting rashes and stuff like that, what is causing it. They are saying everything's safe, and we're taking them at their word, but we need to get to the bottom of what's happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Erin Simonek, 21WFMJ in Youngstown. Just to clarify, this Heritage Thermal Services, is that the company out of East Liverpool, or is this the company I know you mentioned, Indianapolis?
I believe it is called Heritage in East Liverpool, yes.
Okay. Going off of that, the incinerator in East Liverpool, they agreed to pay a fine and comply with national air pollution standards after the EPA actually filed a complaint against them. In 2016, they were cited for exposing workers to toxic chemicals. Are you all aware of this track record from this company out of East Liverpool? And if so, is there any type of assurance you can give people that everything would be okay sending these to East Liverpool?
Good question. We did a compliance screen of each of these sites, and they are currently in compliance, and we can have inspectors in collaboration with the state out there at any time.
Okay, we got time for one more.
According to our News Nation, this could be for EPA or FEMA. Federal officials did announce that over the weekend they surveyed around 350 homes, conducting the surveys. Is those going to be public or transparent, just to see what type of data you're collecting, if maybe there's any common trends and illnesses of the residents? Is that going to be available for the community to at least talk about and just to know what's going on with the community members?
I think it's more for the CPC.
Once we are able to collect the information through our ACE surveys, that information will be publicly available, including any public health recommendations.
Okay, everybody, thank you. This press briefing will occur every day at 4 o'clock. We will be sending out the media advisory as to the location in the event that it changes due to the inclement weather. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you.